I'll use this as my, let me screenshot it. By the time I'm done with the live, I'll be so. Okay, so this shirt is on backwards. Did you notice it? The shirt is on backwards. Oh, so I'm living in a house with my family. So if you hear any noise in the background, those are my family members. Um, how wonderful it is here to be live today, because I have been so busy, you know, I've been so busy, like, with life stuff, and I was hoping it would get me somewhere, but turns out, you know, it wasn't all what I thought it would be. So that is me here, and so now I don't know. I'm talking about Dante, yeah? Dante, the Divine Comedy. So there is a whole lot of introduction uh, passages or pages to get through before you even start the story itself. And it's not so much as, it's not written as a prose, it is a poem, yeah? There is a note from the translator. There are the pages of see what they wrote, Plan of the Divine Comedy. Hello, I. Welcome to the chat. There are notes from the translators. There is this whole plan where you're supposed to understand how Italy was set up then. Then, different professors, I guess, talking about the book itself. And I don't know, I feel like since I'm from Nigeria, I live in Nigeria. Since I have no textbook or technical knowledge on reading Dante, I feel like if I read the translation or the notes from the translator and the introduction pages, it might give me a clue on how to, you know, go about reading the poem, because at the end of the day, this is a poem, and everybody already here, you are from and in Australia, okay? Welcome to the chat. Thank you for being here. Have you read Dante before? Or do you have any experience with reading Dante? This is a poem. There is this whole section called Purgatorio. So that is Italian, I guess. And then there's Paradiso. What else? There's Inferno. All of these things. How I'm so lost, but I'm also very excited, because one thing I like about reading is when you haven't actually should I, yeah, subscribe. Oh, sorry, you mean the book. I can't advise you to read Dante because I'm struggling with it. Yeah, I wonder if you have any experience with Dante, um or no, not just Dante, like maybe classical books like this, or poetry like this. If you have any experience, then you can go ahead and read Dante. But for people like me that don't have any technical, know-how to process books like this, I feel like you might be daunted, in the beginning when you are met with the story. And I think this book is very, very, this edition is actually very, what do you call it, clunky. There are a lot of stuff that was not edited from this copy. I wouldn't know. I'm just assuming here. Hello Gazi, welcome to the chat. Is this thing where I'm thinking of whether there's the penguins copy of the Divine Comedy, and I assume that the Penguins copy might not be so um um laborious, might not be so heck compact like this, yeah. um and there are so many notes, you understand, like if I'm going to even read, there's this thing called commentary and notes now before the next page that is inferno, like, and like if I'm supposed to read this, and have a time, reading a classic work, and the way people have come to this, like some summary, telling of the story where they say, oh, it's a man that went to hell, and then he went to heaven. Like, how did they get to that point of knowing what the book was about? Yeah, so that means they must have really gotten through the text. Yeah, they must have really gotten through the text, and if you're able to get through the text, yeah, as something as heavy as this, it's just so fascinating to me, because I want to also feel that, I want to also go through it and come to my own conclusion. It's kind of how I'm reading like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Yeah, I have a copy of that book. But when I got the book, I wasn't prepared for the introductory notes and the notes by the um what do you call it, Sha? There is somebody that gave notes on the book here. So when I was trying, I didn't want to just start the book like that. I wanted to know what the book was about. Hello, Mike. Welcome to the chat. I wanted to have a feeling of, what the book had to say before reading the story itself. You know. Hello, Gazi. Welcome to the chat. Hi. I wanted to have that feeling of the book, yeah. But it was hard for me. I bought Frankenstein in April this year, and I didn't even get to reading it at all until like maybe last month, October. Yeah. I'm fine, guys. Thank you for asking. I hope you're okay too. I didn't even get to reading it up till October last month, because of how um how clunky those notes were. There were so many things being discussed, so many contexts being given, and Mary Shelley herself, she has a note before the book starts. Yeah? So I wasn't even aware of that, because I hadn't gotten through the introduction. So eventually, when I was able to get through this, like October, yeah, I found how like it was a treasure. I realized that getting through those notes were like a treasure for me to even enjoy the book, the story itself. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Um, so getting through that was a treasure. Like, I appreciated. Like, it just puts the thing into context. It wasn't like I was just reading book to read. It was like I was part of some point in history, yeah, some context of time. I mean, at least English history, like classical literature, history, stuff like that. Yeah. So I feel like if I'm able to get through the introductory notes on this and the notes from the translators, yeah, I think I might have something that would, and like a bank of knowledge that would actually help me get through the actual conversation being had in this story. So that's why I titled the stream like, how does one get through Dante? So like, I don't know if I have any English majors, on my stream, or if any English major would come across this stream. I am aware that there are some online like resources I can go on Google and like find, to be able to like process what it is I'm looking for. Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like it's kind of fun to explore that as well on my live stream. Like, maybe I meet somebody that has, some sort of knowledge, and there's this thing that comes when you are like conversing with somebody like this directly. Yeah, they might be able to like, whittle down excess information into like salient points that would actually be helpful for you to process, this stuff. So basically that's just where I'm at. Yeah, like even like yesterday I had a visitor here, and the visitor was all um looking through my books, because they are also a reader. and they have their own collection and everything, you know. So I was like really excited to talk about my books, and I was so excited because I was like, "Oh, have you seen Dante? Have you read Dante?" And they're like, "No, they've not read Dante," you know. And I was just like, I'm looking for someone that that would, I don't know, kind of like a guide to reading Dante, and especially not to read it as just another story or just another classic, but read it as like as it was intended, as a poem, as a work of poetry, and still be able to get through, what has been said, and coming to this conclusion that everybody knows about Dante, that oh, it was this guy that went to hell and he went to heaven and all of that and all of that. Yeah. Um, so that's just the fun aspect of it, like, and like, is that not like adventurous? Yeah, I love adventures. I feel like that would be like, look at this map. Like, oh, Dante in what 1300 C, Dante's Italy. So there was an Italy that Dante, yeah, existing, and it's not the Italy of modern day like that we are aware of, and it's also not the history of his time. I guess I think it's like a fictional history that the author created here. So like processing this map as well, and then referencing it maybe when you come across something in the book, like that kind of connection. Yeah, I feel like that would be fun to go through. I have this book here called The Prince. No, the title of the book is the book was by Niccolo Machiavelli, yeah, Prince, and when I just read the first few pages of that book, he was talking about how Florentine is the actual Italy, and how Naples was fighting with Florentine. I'm just reading. This is just my first read of the book, so I don't think my details might be accurate here, but like Nicolo's insistence on Florentine being the actual Italy, and all of that, and then he was referring to Rome as the papacy. Yeah, is it the papacy, or I don't think he was calling it the Vatican at that point. Yeah, and all of that. So it's just fascinating. Yeah, and I like. Maybe if I'm able to get through Niccolo Machiavelli's work, I might have a guide to understanding Dante. Don't come for me if you've read both of these books, or if you know what, because I don't know. It's just like a guide. I intend to like process it like, oh, I'm just going through a guidebook here, because the writings of Machiavelli is very precise, and not precise as inaccurate. From the few pages I've read, or just the beginning, like first two